Welcome back to another episode of Zealous Vibe Reacts. I'm your host, 14K Dre, child of the sun, so I shine like one. I'm here today with DJ Will and today we're going to react to a video from God Girl G on the differences between courtship versus dating, aka Taz versus the OGs, on our next episode coming up this Friday. And basically, we're going to be talking about new school versus old school viewpoints on dating. Let's hop right into the video.
I remember the first time that I heard one of my girlfriends proclaim that they were done with dating. I remember looking at her like, but you still want to get married, right? What do you mean you done with dating? Well, she informed me that she had read this book that was called I Kissed Dating Goodbye. This book, when it came out, became the go-to book on Christian dating.
Can we pause it real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
I just had a thought. Because, we be talking about women don't want to be in a relationship no more. Is this part, you think this part of the problem? I'm not trying to diss the book. There's a whole book that says kiss by the dating. And how she said, you can't get married unless you date.
I mean, that is a little part of the problem. I think more so is single women keeping other women single.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm thinking.
Let's roll.
All right. Hold on, I got another disclaimer. For the people who ain't super religious, she's coming from a biblical perspective on courtship and dating. So if you don't necessarily subscribe to that, just go with your normal principles and morals. Go ahead.
Was that the best way to avoid premarital sex was to stop dating altogether. The book argues that dating is a way that hurts people, and dating is a practice for divorce and a distraction from preparing for life. It further argues that if you just trust God, He will provide the right person at the right time. Now that sounds good, especially the last one that says, if you trust God, He will provide the right person at the right time. I actually agree with that one. But that other argument, not so sure. Now, fast forward.
I gotta say something.
Man. Let her breathe.
I agree with what she's saying, but where I'm coming at is he can provide the right person at the right time, but are you ready to receive it, or will you even identify it? And I'm just gonna leave it at that.
That's another one of my points. Do you even know what to look for?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people bypass the right person for them because they weren't taught on what to look for in a partner.
Right.
I'm guilty of that.
Yeah. Brilliant.
20 years later from the publication of this book, the author of that book reached the conclusion that the ideas that he discussed in his book weren't only naive, they also caused harm. As a result, he ceased publication of his book. He readily admitted that the book was a written record of his fears. And a couple of years after that, he divorced his wife. Now, I said all of that to say, I know y'all like formulas. So this video is not about any type of formula. I'm not going to give you a formula for that. But what I am going to discuss is something that his book hinted on, which is really the difference between dating and courting. Now, I want to put this disclaimer out there. The words date and court are not found anywhere in Scripture. God doesn't give us specific laws and commands about the process of getting married, nor does He tell us who to marry. And if you haven't seen my video on Does God Tell Us Who to Marry,
that kind of contradicts what he said earlier. He don't give you the right person.
However, the Bible does give us commands about marriage. Therefore, the only thing Christians can do is to apply a biblical approach in dating and courting. That's all you can do. Also, further in my disclaimer, I may use the word courting and biblical courting or biblical dating interchangeably throughout the course of this video. But for me, they all mean the same thing. Courting, biblical dating, biblical courting, they all mean the same thing for me, for the purpose of this video. Now, I wanted to break down courtship and dating. Both courtship and modern dating are defined as a method of introduction and the carrying out of a premarital relationship between a single man and a single woman. However, beyond that basic definition, there are some differences. Courting is to dating like hot is to cold. They are on completely different sides of the relationship coin. One has a very specific end from the beginning, and the other had no clear purpose or intention. Dating is for fun. Courtship is for marriage. This means that dating presents a man and a woman with a number of potential ends to their relationship, whereas courting has only one end in mind, marriage. Courting, or the act of courting, is defined as an experience of establishing an intense relationship with someone with a desire to see if marriage is the correct choice for the couple. Courtship is to be accomplished without the complexity of being intimate sexually. Dating, by definition, is a social event whereby two people meet for companionship. Dating people view the relationship through a temporal lens. The future is often not discussed. Now, I want to talk a little bit about a personal story about the difference between courting and dating and why someone would choose to just date. When I divorced my first husband, I thought, honestly, I would never marry again. I was done. Because I was like, if marriage is like that, I want nothing to do with it. And I was determined that I would just date the rest of my life.
So I should think that God will give a perfect person. I'm saying.
I'm just going to date the rest of the world. Yeah, where's being social, but I wasn't sure I wanted a relationship that led to marriage. Now, later, after I had fully healed, I then was just like, okay, I think I'm ready to court. So you understand the difference with that? Why somebody might choose dating? And dating might be just, again, for a while, it's meant to be temporary. So while dating can be very casual in nature, courtship, again, has a more serious goal in mind, marriage. So unless your goal is ultimately to make the commitment to marry, courtship is not for you. Now, not all couples who court get married. However, they go into the relationship hoping to find out if they're truly meant for each other for the road that leads to marriage. A big key difference between courting and dating is that courting is not just dating. It's dating with purpose.
With intention and purpose.
See, that's where the lines blur for me.
Right.
Because courtship and dating is one and the same. They should have the same end goal.
Yeah. And one thing is, I agree with her, but one thing I'm not hearing is what people say a lot is the getting to know you phase. Is that kind of like the dating?
That's more so the courtship, according to what she about to say.
Okay.
Because you don't necessarily have to get to know the person you date.
But
in the courtship, that is the sole purpose of it. I think all dating should be that.
Yeah.
Because when you just casually hooking up with somebody, you really need to know who that person is.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
Which is marriage. Now, next, I wanted to talk about 4 differences between dating and courtship. First, there's a difference in motive. Courtship motive is find a spouse. You court because you believe it is possible. The relationship has marriage potential, and the courtship is the process for discerning whether or not that belief is correct. Now, when it comes to modern dating, often marriage isn't the true goal. Again, we're talking about motive here. Dating can occur without marriage in mind. The second difference is mindset. Modern dating has been defined as a very selfish endeavor. Now, it's not maliciously selfish, as in I'm going to hurt you for my benefit. It is an obvious self-centeredness that treats the whole process as is ultimately about me. Selfishness, on the other hand, does not drive biblical marriage, and therefore should not be what drives a biblical courtship. Biblical courtship means that you do not look for a laundry list of characteristics that comprise your fantasy person, so your average desire can be fulfilled. But instead, you look for a godly spouse When it comes to biblical courtship, the relationship mindset is centered around Christ. Biblical courtship relationships are not built around selfish desires. At least they should be. But instead, it's around finding a godly man or woman as defined by God's word. Now, yes, there is a desire for love and attraction, but also a desire that they can love. Third, there's a difference in methods. In biblical courtship, commitment comes before intimacy. In modern dating, intimacy comes before commitment. Now, before y'all automatically think that intimacy here, I'm talking about sex. Intimacy is not just about sex. There is
We're like, I gotta know you know what you're doing.
and you're
Right.
so forth. So don't get the
Let's take for a test run when you get married.
the conversations are different. In biblically based relationships or courtship, the topics, communication, and frequency of conversations are all based on the desire to become more deeply acquainted with each other in the hopes of the conversations and all the things that you're doing to cultivate a relationship will lead to marriage. Modern dating can lack some of the quality that the conversations in biblical dating or courtships have. Because the person you are pursuing in a dating relationship may or may not be fully committed or being fully transparent, and in turn, getting to know them deeper just will not work because there's no desire to take a relationship further. Because after all the dating, there's no need to really get to know the other person because it's not leading to marriage. So what is the best approach for Christian singles? Is dating or courting better? The answer to that question, my friends, is completely personal. I don't believe the Bible gives us a dating formula because, again, I know y'all love formulas. I believe that the Bible provides relationship principles that should be applied for your search for a spouse. Christian singles who want to date God's way should be less concerned with the what and more concerned with the how and the why. So if you go on a date right away, decide to just be friends for a period of time, go on a blind date, or utilize online dating, I've seen it all work and produce godly marriages. You can take any approach and do it for the wrong reason. You can use one approach sinfully and another approach morally. I believe God cares less about the approach that you use and more about how you use that approach. Deep way search for a spouse and how you are searching for a spouse are more important than the method that you use.
Yeah, my thoughts on this is that's why I say at the beginning it's kind of blurred for me because I think all relationships, whether even friendships, need to have some kind of deep, intimate mental connection to where you're getting to know the person. You like we always say you don't really know your spouse until y'all break up, or more importantly, you don't really know a woman until y'all break up or you piss her off. So to me, you should be getting to know your spouse the entire time you with them.
Yeah.
It's a lifelong process. It never stops. So I don't look at it as courtship or dating. To me, it's just a relationship.
Yeah. I like some of the stuff she said. A lot of stuff she said. But it's like what you said, that disclaimer you said at first, biblically and outside of biblically. So a lot of people may not agree with certain things that she said. But my main thing, find something, apply it, and see what works.
Right.
Because the same method might not work with other different people. Because I'm a conversationalist. I can sit there and have a conversation on many levels. A lot of people can't do that. Yeah. And there's some people that be like, because I heard this, when we're talking about, oh yeah, he don't know how to talk, he don't know how to conversation. But like she said, he might not be trying to court you. Right? He might not be interested in your future. He might not be interested in y'all being together for long periods of time.
And see, if you get to a point of relationship or dating and you still confused on that, that means you didn't even do your homework in the beginning. That should have been one of the first things y'all talked about before y'all even went on a date.
Number one.
Yeah, like what is your goal for meeting somebody? What is your goal for dating? Yeah, and if it's like, oh no, I ain't really looking for nobody right now, I'm just chilling, act accordingly.
Act accordingly. That's after that.
You know how to treat that relationship from there point on. You don't have to dismiss them. You could just be friends with them.
Yeah.
You know. All right, so let us know your thoughts on this video and check out the upcoming episode on YouTube and zealousvibes.com. Come vibe with us. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Peace. We out.